Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So, today is officially my first day out with the A1 that wasn't the announcement video or the kingfishers, which you'll have already seen. So moving forward from now on, all videos will be shot with the new Sony A1. So, in today's video then, I actually do want to talk about something. Now, I was looking at places on where to go for this morning's little trip out, and I was chatting with Ryan of Ryan's Wildlife YouTube, and we were talking, and I was like, I just don't know where to go, man. And he went, I've got an idea for you, and there's a grey heron just over there. It's just flown out of the river that I'm walking next to. So we're going to come back and talk about that in a bit. Now, I am at a place called Black Dyke, which I don't know how it's going to go. However, seeing that grey heron just on the other side of the riverbank could be interesting. Stick with us. Let's see how this picture comes out. Well, that was nice. As you'll have seen, I was taking pictures of the grey heron, and as I was just sort of lowered the camera down, I could see something hopping along on the edge of the river. So you see, got all these trees on the edge of the bank. This one had some reeds and stuff caught in it, and there was something hopping around in those reeds. Yeah, tiny little reed bunting. So I managed to reel off a couple of shots of that, and they appear to have come out quite nicely. Obviously, because it was on the other side of the riverbank, it's quite a small target to work with. So anyway, coming back to the little chat I was having with Ryan last night about coming out today, and I'm going to paraphrase what he said, but basically he said, why not just go down to a footpath or a bridle way, rather than trying to find a nature reserve or something like that to go to. Why not go to somewhere like that? And do you know what? It is such a good point. So I hopped onto Google Maps and OS Maps as well. I'm still a member of OS Maps. And I just found this footpath, and I knew it was here because I've been down here a couple of times for other reasons. And I was like, do you know what, actually? I'm just going to go for a bimble down there. And I'll tell you what, when you base it off the fact that we've already seen that grey heron and the reed bunting, it's quite clear I made the right choice. So, yeah, I'm really pleased so far. Now, I have just spotted a couple of swans just nesting on the edge of the bank. I'm going to have a look to see if I can get any form of shot off with them. And yeah, we'll come back and talk about this more in a minute, because it could open up a whole world of new opportunities. Okay, so I didn't manage to make anything of those swans. As I moved around into a position to see them better, there's a lot of reeds and stuff growing up around them, which meant I couldn't get a clear shot off, but that's by the by. However, one thing I forgot to mention already is that there's quite a few red kites flying around here. Got a couple of shots off at the start. I don't think they're any good. I'll stick them up for you in a minute. But I did just miss a shot on my bucket list, and that's a red kite in a tree. Now, I think they're coming back. Basically, I heard the red kite, looked up, and it was literally right above my head. and it flew into some trees that were pretty much next to me. I was trying to make my way around, just trying to get a clear shot of him. Unfortunately, it was sat on a branch that was quite, I'm just watching him now, circling. Yeah, he was sat on a branch. I'm going to just make a quick shimmy that way. That was surrounded by twigs and stuff. So I was moving around, trying to get this clear shot. Not only that, as I was trying to do that, I did see out the corner of my eye, there was another red kite that was sat in there that flew off. Anyway, literally just as I get a clear shot of him, he hops off the branch. So I got a picture of his butt as he leapt off the tree. Now, yeah, he is just circling. It's over this way now. Don't know if you can probably see him behind me, maybe somewhere in the sky behind me. And yeah, I'll stick that up for you as an overlay on this. Anyway, I've been bimbling around and I've not really got much else, but it is not to say that it hasn't got its opportunities. And I think that's one of the positive things about this. So one of the plus points I wanted to talk about was that as great as it is going to these nature reserves that are run by the RSPB and Wildlife Trust, or even country parks, places that are designed to attract wildlife, it doesn't mean that you can't find it in other locations. Wildlife is very much, it goes where it chooses. And that red kite's disappearing off now. But yeah, wildlife goes where it chooses. And while you can create a habitat that'll encourage them to come around, it doesn't mean they're gonna just call that home. It's not like a human where we buy a house and we live there for years. These wild creatures go where they choose to. So coming out for a bimble like this, you just don't know what you're gonna find. And it's absolutely fantastic. Now I haven't seen them, but other birds that I've heard an owl. There was definitely an owl call, couldn't miss it. I did see one fleeting in flight, but heard it more so, and that's the parakeets that we have around in Peterborough. Never got a shot off of one of those, but I do know where they reside when it's warmer, so I will be looking at photographing those when I know they're back at the other location. Yeah, it's a lovely day just to come for a walk, and I think that's another positive as well. As I say, any day out with the camera is a good day. The fact that you can just come for a walk like this with the camera, it's just beautiful. Make the most of these opportunities. Now, we'll come back and start talking about a couple of cons about coming to locations like this in a moment. I'm going to go see if I can actually see any more birds. That red kite has definitely disappeared. He's circled off somewhere else. And I'm going to stick around these trees a little bit and just see if they come back to roost. The fact that there was two in there may signify it's a regular place for them to come in and land. Okay, so it's actually gone really quiet now. The sounds of the small birds has kind of dropped off a little bit. It's still present, but it has gone a bit quieter, and the red kites just seem to have dispersed. I haven't seen one for ages. So I've managed to come to the other side of the riverbank now. I'm just going to keep walking along this side to see what else I can see. But yeah, let's come back and talk about a con of kind of doing one of these bimbles where you're just essentially walking down footpaths and stuff. Now, sorry, my coffee's just fallen over, it's fine. While I did touch on the point that animals are wild creatures and they will go where they please. At the end of the day, places like the RSPB and Wildlife Trust do create habitats that are more likely to attract the wildlife, and they kind of tailor some of their things to a degree to specific areas of wildlife. So on that premise, it is sometimes easier to find wildlife in places like that. So yeah, it can make it a lot easier when you want to go out and actually photograph wildlife, to go to these places, because you've got a greater chance of seeing something. Yeah, there's definite pros and cons. One of the others, which is a kind of a pro to coming out to doing things like this, is you don't have to drive far. So for me, this is like about 7 or 8 minute drive away, this walk today. For me to get to the nearest RSPB location, you're probably looking at Neem Washes, which is about 25 minutes away. There's a couple of other Wildlife Trust places, probably about the same distance. Past that, you're probably looking at a good 45 minutes, if not more, to go to the next one. I can find no end of places like this that are an 8 to 10 minute drive away from me. So it just makes life that little bit easier to come out to places like this. So if you're just wanting to go out with the camera but don't want to go too far, doing things like this is a massive, massive advantage and a really good way just to get out. Just don't bank on actually seeing anything. So yeah, I kind of parked myself up here just to see if any of the wildlife kind of came around. There's a tree over to that sort of side. You've got the big trees where I saw the kites landing. They've not been back there since, which is frustrating since there was 2 of them in there anyway. I've got these shrubbery behind me as well. So I was kind of hoping some smaller birds might come around. The sun is getting higher in the sky, the light is getting harsher, so I'm going to call it soon. I think I'm just going to pack up and carry on walking back down this side of the riverbank just in case, but I'll be honest, I don't think I'm going to see much else. Okay, that wind's really starting to pick up now, so the camera's probably bouncing around all over the place, but I'm happy, and I've just managed to grab some photos, which totally made this bimble worth coming out for. Just walking back along the riverbank from that spot that I was sat at originally, and there was a pair of swans. There was an adult and a juvenile sat in the water, or not sat in the water, trying to swim in the water. The current's actually quite strong, and they were having a really good preen, and they were up, they were flapping their wings, there was water going everywhere. Well, I've probably now got hundreds of shots of these swans. They were totally not fazed by me being there at all. I didn't want to disturb them initially, so I was trying to find a location far enough off. It got to the point where they came so close to me. They were literally, I was sat on the edge of the bank. They were less than 6 foot in front of me, so I couldn't get any pictures because they'd come that close. However, it was just an amazing sight to see. When they were splashing around in the water and stuff, it was phenomenal. I had the shutter speed up at 1/2000th of a second, and it's captured all of that. Obviously, using the A1, one of the reasons I bought it was for its frames per second. Reeled off loads of shots to try and pinpoint that exact moment that I was looking to capture. The autofocus system, the eyes are pin sharp on them. So kudos for Sony for creating the A1. The thing is an absolute animal, but annoyingly, the one shot I couldn't get was so they were splashing around in the water and stuff. But I love it when the swans raise themselves up, necks extended, wings extended. That was a shot I really, really wanted. When they were doing that, they were literally sat 6 foot in front of me. But as far as an experience goes, it was fantastic. The sound, the sheer volume of the power of their wings was just unreal. See, this is why it's a big pro to sometimes just come to places like this, especially if there's a river, a lake or something like that, just to wander around. You can get some brilliant shots of some water birds. And as I've said before, again, I know I wax lyrical about this, any day out with the camera is a good day. And even if it means that you're coming out and taking photos of the same birds that you've photographed, you just never know what kind of situation you're going to find yourself in. I've never seen swans preening like that. I've seen them sort of go back up and they're flapping their wings and stuff, but to splash around in the water like that was just absolutely insane. And as I say, from a bird watching perspective, it was just an absolute amazing spectacle to watch. From a photography perspective, because they were so close, there was hundreds of shots I've probably missed where I've clipped the wings and things like that. But do you know what? I'm not going to argue about that. Right, I'm going to carry on because I'm walking back to the car now. I'm almost back at the car. It's getting quite peoply down here. It's obviously quite a common place for walking dogs. I'm not surprised because it's beautiful, and that wind's also picking up as well, which you can probably see as the camera's about to fall over. So yeah, let's crack on and I'll come back and sign out in a minute. Okay, so I'm almost back at the car now. I'm probably not going to get any more shots off, but what a really successful bimble today. I'm so happy. Those pictures of the swans were just absolutely fantastic. So yeah, really, really happy, really pleased. And I think it just goes to show, sorry about the plane noise if you can hear it, it just goes to show that you don't always need to go to a nature reserve to capture some fantastic images. Even if it's pictures of birds that you photographed before, you just don't know what you're going to see unless you get out there. Another point that I like to always make, any day out with the camera is a good day, and you're not going to get pictures of wildlife while sat on your backside on your sofa. Well, you might do, but not much. So yeah, you've just got to get out there, and finding locations like this, I think, is a brilliant way to actually just enable you to get out with the camera and just make the most of so many opportunities, rather than having that apathy about, oh, can I really be bothered to drive 25 minutes, 35 minutes, an hour? You know, it just means you can get out with the camera and literally drive just down the road. So anyway, as I say, I'm going to sign out now. Hold that thought. I'm having to interrupt my sign out again. I literally just finished recording the whole sign out, and as I was turned around, grey wagtail just flew over into a fallen tree and was bobbing around near the water's edge. he was quite far away, and I managed to reel off a few shots. They were probably going to be quite cropped. I got a few shots, I moved a bit closer forward, got a few more shots. Unfortunately, the area that I was trying to walk across was absolutely littered with cut reeds, so it was crunching and cracking, which put them right on edge. I tried to kind of wait it out a little bit, but hopefully some of these shots actually came out all right. They were done in crop mode just to try and make sure I got the shot as sharp as possible and the focus was as accurate as possible. I know it's the A1, but it's probably a bad habit from using the A7R4, but yeah, over the moon. So I'll stick up those pictures now, and then we'll go back to the sign out. If you've liked the video, give us the old thumbs up. If you don't already, drop some subscribes from down the bottom and hit that notification bell. And all that's left for me to say then is this is Mike out. Take care and be safe, everyone. Peace.